commuting to
Fine.
traffic jams, team outings, birthdays, treats, fun Fridays, and the wait for weekends. Is all this a past? As the COVID-19 situation continues and is going to take much longer than expected, we see an evolution of new normal. Indian corporate sector is going through one of the hardest time in many decades. Employees around the world are trying to create a bridge between yesterday and today. Tomorrow, when a vaccine or effective treatment will open the possibility of safe return to the traditional workplace, yet we will still foresee that remote work will have earned a permanent place in the employment mix. According to a survey, 88% of employees in India prefer working from home and 69% believe that productivity has also increased. Friends, our today's panel discussion is all about new normal doing unlocking hybrid working style. I am Prashant Singh and I take care of compliance and payroll outsourcing business for TeamLease. I'm going to be the moderator for today's discussion. A warm welcome to all of you for this part of the session. Today, discussion would revolve around this subject and we'll have 60 minutes for it, followed by 15 minutes of Q&A session. Today we have with us 4 subject matter experts, industry specialists from various sectors who would share the thoughts and advice on this subject. I would like to introduce our panelists. Dr. K.S. Boone, Head of HR and Business Excellence at RDC Concrete India Private Limited. He carries a varied experience of 33 years and has served for our Indian Army as well. He holds a PhD in Supply Chain Management from IIT Delhi and MTech also from IIT Delhi Industrial Engineering. He carries around 20 years of corporate experience. He has worked with Ashok Leyland, ACC Cement, and now he is working as a Head of HR and Business Excellence at RDC Concrete India Private Limited. Welcome, Dr. Boone. Ms. Savita, Senior Director HR at NEST Digital Engineering. Savita carries 20 years of multicultural and diverse industry experience in HR field across India, US and Europe. She is currently working as Senior Director at HR at NEST Vidya Engineering College and has worked with companies like Capgemini, IIT Gate Global, HSBC. Savita is an MBA graduate and has experience in business reorganization and realignment, strategic planning and implementation, HR strategy and solutions to business, employee and client relationship, key account management, people and performance management, employee relationship and engagement, employee grievances, talent retention and succession planning. Welcome, Savita.
Thank you, Prashant.
Nitin Ambulkar, he heads corporate HR at Monginis Group of Companies. Nitin has diversified experience in IT, automobile, hospitality, telecom, and FMCG organizations from multiple geographical globally. He's having expertise in strategic planning of HR and monitoring deliveries of HR objective by turning concepts and theories into pragmatic solution. Nitin has brilliant academic through Mumbai University and he has completed Masters of Arts in Public Administration, then Masters of Management Studies in Human Resources and Bachelors of Law qualification with University Merit List ranking. Welcome, Nitin.
Thank you very much.
And we have the 4th panelist, Ms. Vinita Ukreti. She is the Human Resource and Director at Fiserv. Vinita carries around 18 years of experience in HR management and consulting, is currently working as a Human Resource Director at Fiserv. She holds an MBA degree and has built and led a proactive HR program for complex service-based partnership and public organization undergoing acquisitions, getting ready to sell, startup, rapid growth, transitional business cycle in IT and ITS and business consultancy domain in US, UK, Europe, and APAC region. So these are our panelists for today. With this, I would like to start the discussion. My first question would go to Dr. Boone. Dr. Boone, what as per you means hybrid working style and how have you implemented this in your organization?
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you for having me here. Please give me a 1 minute extra when you said 2 or 3 minutes. The reason is because I'll set some issues in focus which may probably be useful to the people who are listening.
Sure.
Firstly, RDC Concrete is a all India national company having plants all over India, starting from Trivandrum to Punjab and Kolkata to Bombay. everywhere. We are in cities. So we are fairly, I think it's a good time for me to speak here because we are a brick and mortar company. At the same time, we work in cities. So we have a city workforce. So this is very unique to that extent, and it represents quite a large population of a country in some way or the other. It all starts. What is work from home and what really is? All of us think work from home and work from office or site starts once you join a job. Actually, it starts at the age of 4 or 5 or 6, because once you are told, your parents tell you to go to school, that also is work from school. So you go there. So how as children we are come up, probably this by in my entire life, of course, I have been in the Indian Army. I have remained away from population for a long time on China border and other places. But it's very different. This one is very different because they are used to interact. Here, you are totally isolated from the age of 4 or 5. So I was having a discussion with some of the senior colleagues in True North. True North is the holding company of this. True North is about 20,000 crore group. It has got companies like ACT and all. So they were saying the impact on the children who are now growing, who are probably have been told to hold back almost now 8, 9 months, maybe 1 year, we don't know. How their psychology will change, we don't know. So many of the effects of this current environment are not yet known. We don't know how it is going to. It definitely will have some permanent changes. Some will be temporary, will come back. Now, many of us, one of the major advantage of this work from home has been actually travel. So travel is the one which when I did a survey in my company and elsewhere, I found that travel is the one which they love to go, I don't have to go to. But other than travel, it brings its own issues. All homes are not equipped with to work from home. We always think of white collar workers who got good salary. They got a 1 BHK, 2 BHK or some 3 BHK, whatever. All homes are not like that. In my own company, I find people say, sir, where is the place? You are saying isolation is probably better in the office than in my home. So they have their own reasons for unable to, I should say, being as productive as they will be if they are in the office. Then my company is from the brick and mortar. Why brick and mortar, certain activities are simply not possible. So I will have to have so I define hybrid in 2 ways. Some employees are full-time on the job, on site. I can use the word site, on site, and some are work from home. The other hybrid, of course, is that the people who work from home, they come to the office for a few days. So I'm using this definition in both ways, but largely I'll confine to the hybrid means that you come to office for 3 or 4 days or 5 days, and other days you don't come, you work from home, something like that. Another very important facet to this whole issue is the value system. Our value system and Western value system, who have been propagating this work from home for a large population, not exactly the same. It is actually varies vastly. Firstly, an average worker in Mumbai works for 2,400 hours in a year. In US, he works only for 1,600 hours. There is a huge chasm or gap between R and them. Secondly, telling a lie on small things is very common here. For example, when I used to call my daughter initially when she went to US, so when I used to call, I forgetting that she's in the office. Papa, I'm in the office. So here nobody says I'm in the office. They just take a call. They chat for hours. We have very different work culture. So we must keep in mind when we are propagating any of the concept, work from home, permanent, temporary. Then many employees, of course, in my company also, even the workforce also says that it should be a 5-day week. But in India, most of the manufacturing, so they work for 6 days a week. So having said that, let me come to the basic question. I know I've taken a little longer time on the introduction part because I feel these are very basic to our understanding the whole issue. Hybrid model has got certain advantages and certain issues. Office which works on a hybrid model, that is, people come for 4 days a week. They don't come for we had a 6-day working week here earlier. So now we are down to, you can call it a 4-day working week. 2 days are not holidays. 2 days they have to work from home. So this is our hybrid model. Many companies are having 3. My daughter is having full work from home. One daughter is having full, one is having partial, or all that hybrid, you can call it. So this, the biggest advantage, when I did some survey among our people, some others, they say the biggest advantage of working from home is travel. So they love that. Okay, why don't have to travel today? So they get 2 days leave or 3 days leave. Then, of course, it gives them flexibility. There's no immediate supervision. All that is loved. and they can spend more time with the family. They can, for example, one boy was telling me, I can help my mom now. Earlier, I was not able to help. So she feels very good, then I'm wrong. So there is a better bonding in the family. So we are getting, but then there are issues even with working for 4 days.
Okay.
So whenever you're having many of you have to have work in teams. So team working, whatever you say, it is not that effective in a virtual environment. In team meeting, you have to meet.
Fine.
So if I go full working, if you go on a full working home, I think one of the biggest issues is coming. Everybody says, sir, full work from home is not desirable at all. I want to come to the office because that is my social network. That is my official as a social. I need to come. So then there is an issue in my case, there is also an issue of work from home, partial or hybrid with my people who are working in the plant. My plant people say, you guys work only 4 days. I work for 6 days. This is an anomaly. So give me more money. In some cases, incidentally, in US, the people who are going to the plant, they are now given additional bonus so that to compensate people because they cannot work from home. No additional salary they have to give because there is no other alternative. But there is now a divide. There is you can call it a social or official divide. Those who work from home, those who have to permanently go to the site. So this is an issue there. Now,
so,
even on these advisors.
What I'll do,
I know you raised your pencil twice.
Yeah, I'm actually no, because we have certain questions which will cover up most of your points which you are just talking about.
Okay, fine.
So
okay, fine. So
let's hear from.
I'll just close by saying that the productivity in full work from home or even partial work from home, in my opinion, is actually lower than the full site. I'll close with that.
Right, Dr. Munso. Thank you. I think you very beautifully covered the professional and personal, your office, culture, how things are. Let's hear from others. Savita, what is your thought and what is your industry? How is your industry looking at this?
So Prashant, thank you for the question. Well, most of the organizations have already adopted to so-called new normal, right, of working more for us. Whether it's a flexible working culture or you're working from your remote or home, this is something which has become part of their life. Now the organizations have declared work from home or remotely till December, and now they're going to decide what next, right? We don't know what is the next thing which is coming up in the next 3 months, next 6 months, how are we planning? So for organization, based on their business structure is something which we would look at them to plan for their, going forward approach, whether it's going to be 10% of the population, you're going to get people based on the business need. That's something which we look at. But for organization, hybrid workplace has been the fantabulous one because it brought in the work culture where most of the organization was shying away from the, working from home policies and all that stuff. It has increased productivity, I would say other way here. And it has reduced the absenteeism, which is very, very important. Most of the people are at home. So you're not calling them saying that, all right, I'm going to take a leave, and you are at home, we can log in at any time. The cost reduction in real estate or the resource cost has been, again, a very, very benefit for the organization. We as an organization need to more focus on building the critical skills and the competencies, look at the organization redesign, look at the way we worked as a overall change management. Also focus on developing our current leaders and because it's very, very important for them to adapt and learn, right? It's not only that it's only employee who's working, you need to know how you work and manage your teams who are working remotely. So it's very, very important for all of us. Lastly, the cybersecurity, not to forget that, that's something which we need to not lose our focus on. And employees, I'm sure they're enjoying their flexible work from home. They have a security, financial security, saving on the cost travel. And as Dr. Boone mentioned, reduced time on commute and focusing on online training and certification.
So I picked up 4 words from you, from your statement, Savita.
Right.
Of course, you spoke about the cost. You spoke about, the absenteeism. You spoke about productivity and cybersecurity. We'll talk about that over a period, in the next couple of minutes. Let's hear from Nitin.
Thank you.
And what's your thought on this?
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. See, the thing is that my other colleagues are talking about the hybrid working into the different sectors and industries. We are into the manufacturing sector. So for me, the hybrid working pattern is something different than the typical one. One side, we have the sales team, which is typically working, as others of my colleagues have said, a few days working from home, working and then few days working into the market. That is basically my sales team and my operation teams into the market. But on the other hand side, my major workforce is into the manufacturing setups. We are having a multiple location plans and a few are into the big in the numbers. So we definitely made a lot of changes into the working pattern. And on the other hand side, we gave a lot of assurance to our employees, especially the blue collar people, for adopt the changes of hybrid working. See whether it is going to be the individual assurance like their extending of the health schemes, extending of their medical checkups, making them assured that the standing along with them in these difficult times with their own health. And that gives them the assurance to work into the different pattern of hybrid working. For example, in few factories of ours, we have started flexi hours working, even for the manufacturing teams. We provided them the transport and everything is fine, but on the other hand side, we also provided the resident program in our factories. The blue collar workers, the blue collar team is staying in the factory for 5 days in the week and then taking subsequent 2 days as a holiday, which give them a good motivation. Company is completely supporting them. And on that side, they are really performing excellent. Trust me, my skill productivity, what we call typically into the quality products, has been definitely increased in the last 3 months of a time. We have started in the June, and in the last 3 months on the monthly observation pattern, what we monitor, we found that individual qualitative productivity has been increased by giving them the assurance of this. On the other hand side, hybrid working for the sales team also we have extended a lot. We, as Dr. Bala said, Dr. Boone said, perfectly we gave them an opportunity to make their own diagram of working. Whether it is going to be the necessity of them to go into the market, interact with the people, because we are having the widespread pan-India. Number of our sales team employees are extensively traveling on the daily basis. Sometimes it's always going to be around 150 kilometers in a day with their own vehicle, or with the public transport is not available. So we gave them the opportunity to contact their entire market members through the other mode of communication, like it is going to be the video calls, whether it is going to be the WhatsApp calls and everything, and to ensure the business part. And this has been made official for their attendance. So that assurance of a hybrid working and assisting them, which gave a better mindset for them to perform full-heartedly working for the organization. We being into the different sort of setup, a manufacturing and a pan-India sales with a dedicated model of sales, we are having a different manpower where we opted this concept of hybrid working into the different patterns. So that's from my side.
Fine, Nitin. I think quite descriptive detail about what manufacturing and how things work there. Let's hear from Vinita. Yes, Vinita, over to you.
So thank you for the question. I think all very great points. So I'll just add what is not covered already. So I think, there are a couple of things from an employer standpoint that the organizations have gained. And then obviously from the employee standpoint, again, a few things that are absolutely wonderful from the hybrid model perspective. So potentially, let me just cover two from each, in the interest of time. So as far as the organizations are concerned, the 2 points that I think are worth adding is that this has actually prepared organizations for future disruptions. So while COVID, we keep hearing that COVID kind of brought in 10 years worth digital transformation in a matter of a couple of months. This is actually, built in a lot of resilience in organizations to actually cater to future disruptions. That is one. Second is a lot of organizations are also looking at very intelligent ways to look at their location strategy. So a lot of companies were actually growing where their existing offices were, but the hybrid work environment actually tested the remote working to 100%. And that's led to, intelligent usage of their highest, one of the highest costs, which is the real estate, right? So these are the two things that I wanted to bring in from the employer perspective. Now, quickly moving to the employee side, right? Again, if you really see, so I come from the IT background, right? I'm working in the IT organization. So we used to see from a diversity and inclusion perspective, a lot of, women workforce kind of getting left out or kind of dropping off, because if you just look at data, like generally IT industry is sitting at a 35-36% women male ratio, right? So the women are 35-36% of the overall work population. Now remote working has kind of helped in the overall diversity and inclusion as well. Second is, from an employer value proposition, the hybrid work environment brings us that agility in terms of, people also cross-pollinating. So mobility, which was earlier like a location mobility, has kind of taken a different stance altogether. So your talent fungibility has completely taken an upswing. So these are the two things that I just want to call out, which I
So,
think should
yeah,
be brought
connecting
on.
to the same question, I just wanted to know that how have you induced the compliance culture in your organization in respect to the new employees who are joining? You are on mute, Vinita. You need to you unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, sorry. So I think that's a great question, right? And I'll just start by saying that why exactly is compliance important, right? So when we actually went back and we looked at the organizations to see that what are the biggest challenges as it relates to risk management for our employees, leave aside just the new hires, right? And we saw a couple of things right from employee well-being, the basic challenges of remote working, cybersecurity, data protection, and also keeping up with regulations, as they were prescribed by government, right? So if I just focus on these, so what we've really done from a new hire perspective, we've actually focused on the 3 C's, which is absolutely focus on communication, compliance, and culture. Now, if you really look at the new hire who've joined organization during the pandemic, they haven't seen the office environment per se, right? And therefore, there has been a huge amount of focus in terms of heightening their communication, outreach, ensuring that there is enough training, education, and compliance norms, as well as not keeping it isolated with the overall environment. So I'd just like to wrap it up by saying that, absolutely the core compliance processes have changed for new hires. What used to be earlier done face to face, and were pretty much hands-on, are actually now moving online, right? So there's been a huge impact of technology. So the processes that were done face to face, have kind of moved. So that's one thing that's happened for the new hires, where core compliance processes have changed, evolved. There's heightened amount of technology usage. Absolutely, there is also a given amount of culture baked in, right? So just imagine a new hire coming in. There is a huge amount of Zoom fatigue, right? So either a person who's remote, there is Zoom fatigue, and for essential services, right? So the frontline employees are kind of omnipresent risk to contracting COVID themselves. So absolutely, there is a heightened focus on educating the managers as well to ensure that the world around the new hire, there's not only compliance training, there is that education through communication, but the role of the manager in HR has completely evolved during these times. So of course, and as an organization, we focus on these things to bring about that change.
Got it. So Vinita, I think I saw Savita nodding her head, and on your statement. So Savita, what is your say and what do you think has transformed in terms of compliance culture from pre-COVID to post-COVID time now?
Yeah, well, I agree with most of the points which Vinita was covering, and I think that's why I was noting, because we in the IT industry, it is very, very important for us to adapt or redesign or how our overall hiring process has been. Interview, you're not getting to see the candidates, on face-to-face basis. So your overall, from your pre-hire experience to your, interviews or looking at their onboardings, everything has, been worked like that. For us, it was easy because we had already kind of that model which we were working and we knew it was coming. So we were prepared well for that. The only thing which I would see is when you're looking at for your hiring, you need to accelerate the tech-enabled recruiting methods, right? You're looking at video interviewing, you're looking at automating of resume, you're looking at the evaluation, of theirs, you're looking at their BGV documents, which is very, very important. Or when they are onboarded, you're looking at their day one hand holding, or you're looking at their onboarding week, how are we engaging them? You know, they're not connected, they're not there in office in person. So how are you engaging them that? Are you assigning a buddy with them? Is your HR talking to them? Are we sending welcome message from the leaders? So these are the few things which is, you know, very, very important, that the human touch, we say, I know it is all digital, we all say automations, but somewhere that human touch is important, and it's very important for an employee or all the support function for that matter, including leaders to manager, to keep that employee engaged throughout, you know, and that's why we have charted the plans for that.
So I think between Vinita and you, there are a lot of similarities because of, you know, the industry specific. Let's hear from Dr. Boone that what does his industry think about this? I mean, in terms of compliance, is there anything specific which you are doing, or more or less you agree to what, you know, Savita and Vinita said? Dr. Boone.
No. So my model is vastly different. Firstly, we are a very different industry. So cultural alignment, I will probably use the word alignment more than compliance. Cultural alignment is very, very important. In fact, even during campus interviews, I test the mindset of a person, whether he is culturally aligned for this kind of a job. Because this job, to some extent, sometimes it becomes 24/7. I mean, you may get a call even at night. Many of us do get a call. So during this period, we had people joined who were hired from the campuses. There are a few, the external hiring as well, all have joined physically. There were 2 or 3 people who were saying, you know, head office, they were saying, can we join virtually? The guy was in Lucknow. The plane has started moving. We said, no, you fly into Bombay. We'll make arrangement for your stay, isolation, everything. But you will stay for 15 days in isolation. After 15 days, you have to physically come and meet and become part of our culture. So he came. So I do not, frankly, we have not onboarded anybody virtually, point one. But onboarding does not finish only in coming physically. We used to call the guys here in head office. Our campus recruits used to come in a group. We used to have interaction 7 days in 6 days. We used to have regular interaction with the top team here so that they know what we are. So that one has gone virtual. It is effective, significantly effective, but it's not as effective as it would have been physically. We used to take them to the plant. But as I say, in my case, there's not much change in joining from the pre-COVID time, except the induction and training, which is happening online. It is the same. Right. The people have joined physically.
Okay. Thank you. I think relevant point. Nitin, over to you. What is your say on this? Nitin, you are on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Hello. Audible?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Thanks. What Dr. Boone said, exactly, we are on the same platform. We are into the manufacturing setup, so we need a manpower physically to be present in the premises to work. And on the other hand side, the sales team need to be physically present and connected to the market. So for the new recruitment, new hires and everything, we are not into that much of a numbers during this COVID period. Obviously, whatever is going to be the campus placement, typically we do from the hotel management and catering industry. That is taken care physically as well as on a remote way, giving them the induction and the pre-training, pre-joining training and everything, but that's minimal in the number. So that's what we are into, different platforms, same like Dr. Boone.
So connecting to your question, since you spoke about flexi hours before, and we also touched upon the productivity, in your industry, do you think because of either flexi hours or maybe because of, you know, the leeway which we have given to the employees in terms of operating from home or certain benefits, do you think the productivity has actually gone up in last 6-7 months time?
Yes, yes. That's what I said even in my last conversation. What we did, flexi working and even the flexi shifts might be a very new concept with any manufacturing setup. What we're talking about here is mainly about well-educated office staff and a team which is understanding the entire scenario in a broader perspectives. But for the blue-collar person who's working physically for years and years, we are having the long employment tenure people, making them changing of their ideas is little difficult. So with this situation of pandemic, people of the higher age are very scary about physically attending the factories and performing the duties. So what we did, and on the other hand side in Mumbai, as you are aware about, no public transport is still available effectively. We are give them the assistance of the company travel and everything. But on the other hand side, we completely change the shift pattern. We give them the flexi hours. The blue collar team member can come into the time, work his complete hours, and then take a break. Sometimes it's also available according to the government law, that is 48 hours in the week. If they want to complete that into the, besides 6 days, into 5 days by extending of their working, we are willing them to give that opportunity. This sort of situation and this sort of extending cooperation from the organization gave them a lot of faith on the organization. Bonding has been increased, and that is the reason why also the productivity has been increased. That is the one aspect. Second aspect, what we did very positively and very moderately, we monitor that. See, in this situation, there is going to be a lot of gaps into the available manpower. We need a skilled manpower in our business. So sometimes what happened due to the absenteeism, maybe absenteeism for any reason, maybe the person has been quarantined or his family member may be quarantined or anything. So there we found the gaps. In that situation, what we did, we motivate the entire team for filling up the gaps with multitasking.
Okay.
Many of the times, our foreman and the supervisory level people who are basically a team leader, we motivated them to fill this gap and keep the entire productivity level in terms of the quantity up to the expected mark, and on the other hand side to monitor the quality of the production. So what happened? My mid-management people, which are basically the foreman, the supervisors, or the shift in charge, have hands-on contributing to the team.
Okay.
And that gives a great impact on the entire productivity enhancement. So that's going to be the one more team building exercise what we did, and we really found it very fruitful. So that
Very
team
nice.
spirit has been increased very well.
Right, Nitin. I think very interesting. I mean, very well articulated. I would like to understand from Vinita. I mean, since we have diverse industries on IT's front, do you see that productivity has actually moved up, or the delta remains the same? How had been in your things in your industry so far?
So absolutely, like the way Savita and Nitin called out, as well as Dr. Boone, the productivity has absolutely increased, right? It's actually for the first time put 100% of the workforce under test. And a lot of IT organizations, as you know, already have tracking mechanism and tools that actually capture not only time on system, but also productivity in terms of the quality of output. And these tools, which were earlier seen as hindrances, are pretty much now seen very strategic to align on which way is the overall increase. What's also helped and is worth mentioning is that, the IT organization was very quick to respond to this. And in certain cases, like let's say the payment side of the IT part, where it is classified as essential services, the organizations also went ahead and identified talent that were critical, right? So these were frontline folks that had to come to office. So they were boost that was given to them through policy changes, made be a bump up in their salaries, to what better benefits, to what the flexibility. But in a nutshell, yes, with immense support from the organization, the productivity has increased many-fold. And there's also a response from the customer and the stakeholders stating that they've seen an uptake in the offerings that they are also seeing.
Got it. Right, Vinita. Thanks. I think Dr. Boone, anything specific which you feel in your industry, in your concrete business, has been done which has actually moved the delta of productivity from what it was earlier now?
So we are very focused on people productivity, because that is what actually adds value in our business. Otherwise, we won't make money. We've been consistently doing very well. So what happened after this COVID when set in? We were probably one of the first one to start our plant in Sakinaka, Mumbai, when Mumbai was having. I'm talking about the month of April, mind you, it's very, very late. So luckily we didn't have any serious cases. We had 30, 40 cases. We have been operating all our plants. Our productivity in the plant, I'll be very specific. Our productivity in the plant has actually shoot up. The reason for that shooting up is we have been telling people, why are you having so many people? Please reduce. They were not doing it. Now, many people went home, especially the migrant workers. We had a lot of migrant workers. They went home. They never came back. So they didn't want to come back. So we said, okay, let's try and run the plant without them. And we ran the plant. Currently, I am something like 17% down from my workforce, which I used to have before. And I'm back to my previous level of overall production volumes. So productivity is hugely increased in the plants. What I was referring to was my productivity in the head office. Since it is not as easy to measure as in the plant, because you come to know, I have done some survey, I have done some analysis, is actually slightly down because of working from home. People are things which the projects are launched, they are getting delayed by the head office. We are taking corrective action. So in this, I think, I don't know whether I may cover probably the next question. The KPIs that have to be tweaked in this environment. They can't be the same. The person who works from home, his old KPIs are not sufficient enough to get productive out of him.
Got it. Right, Dr. Boone. So coming to Savita, I mean, since we are speaking about productivity, we heard Vinita talking about how things are there. I would add a question to that and say that while we measure productivity, which is more of an outcome or output, what about the input metrics where what are various initiatives which you have taken in terms of motivating and engaging employees, which in turns help you in productivity? What would you say on that?
So thanks, Prashant. Again, very interesting questions where most of us struggle, where the employees, we don't have as a face-to-face interaction with them. So what I would say is the new work environment requires unlearning of your old practices, restructuring it, and discovering new ways of communicating, engaging, and thinking. And it's not only employees, right? It is their family, their kids, the parents who are at home, they're watching you while you're working, and they're seeing you, how you're behaving, how is the whole culture around you, or how your organization is treating you, right? And even for employees, the expectation has shifted. It's no longer looking at that, okay, I'm coming to office, I'm not coming to office, but then here the organization is looking at their all cost saving, channelizing through people's agenda, whether it's on their well-being, whether it's their psychological health and safety, looking at employee experience, their learning, where we're investing, your reward and recognition, very important at this time because your working hours are no longer 8 hours or 9 hours, right? And then you also have that social, responsibility, right? And if I don't see my career, I'm working so much of hard, but there is no growth or looking at my professional development, then the whole employee satisfaction goes down. So there are various things which we have brought in, starting from your annual subscriptions of the health or flexible timings. But the most important thing which we all did initially, right? We offered them this support, which was required in terms of tool, technology, infrastructure. We communicated well on how the COVID situation has been, how the precautions has been. All that phase is over. Now it's more to talk about your, as Dr. Boone mentioned, that create and set expectations for your productivity and performance, right? It's very, very important. You need to celebrate the success and you need to celebrate. And the last thing is look at the culture, how your leaders are driving these cultures. It's very, very important from that.
Right. I think, Savita, you covered everything. All the points were covered, right from soft to hard skill. Nitin, any two specific things in your industry which you are practicing, which you think are being implemented for engagement and motivation?
Yes. See, Mr. Prashant, the thing is that we are all talking about enhancing or measuring of the productivity, but on the primary part in this very unexpected situation is how we are giving them the assurance and the motivation, especially transforming that assurance and motivation to the blue collar people or the mid management people is always a challenge in this situation. So what we did a threefold program. We made a individual assurance program, we made a family assurance program, and we made a social assurance program. Individual assurance program is typically, as you are aware, about medical test and everything. But on the other hand side, we give them the assurance that if anything goes wrong in their family, if some member tested positive or something, then company will give them a paid leave to take care of the family member. This sort of gesture from the organization made them a lot of attachment with the organization, that yes, the organization is not only taking care of me as a member of a production team, but also as extended that facility and thoughts to my family members. So that gives a lot of opportunity for them. On the other hand side, we made a lot of changes into our health test program. We are into the food industry, so obviously we are doing it. But also we extended it a lot even to the family members.
Okay.
So that sort of new activities give them a lot of assurance, relations making, lot role, not only from the HR, but even my line managers played a lot role on this confidence building exercise. Unless the confidence building has been made up to the good extent, we cannot expect the productivity. It's not going to come automatically just by making them to do it or asking them to do it. We have to have the methods for it. We have to have the motivation schemes for it. We have to give them the assurance, either individual, family, and social pattern. So then only it can be, collectively the productivity will be increased. And we made this, we have closed down for 2 months initially, April and May. But when we started in the 8th of the June, and then onwards, we made all the strategies, planning. We are reviving them also very regularly and trying to make a very different work culture now. I'm proud to say that in the experience of the last 4 months, we have the excellent team building. We have the very good awareness about the qualitative and quantitative output of the product.
Got it.
So that's going to be, I think, one new learning we had with this pandemic situation.
Got it. Let's hear from Vinita. Vinita, anything specific in your sector, industry, company, which has been implemented? Yeah, Vinita, are you there? I think the network is a little bad there.
Sure.
No problem.
Sure. I'll give examples, right?
Yeah, Vinita, are you back? Could you hear the question, because we lost you?
Yeah, I'm back, I guess. I did. I got the question, and I was saying that I would possibly give examples so that, it kind of closes the overall loop to this. What our organization did was introduce childcare leaves, right? So whatever were the number of leaves that were given, the organization gave 2 weeks over and above that for people who were working parents who had, dependent parent illness. The second was absolutely go ahead and give everyone a given corpus. It was given off as a one-time bonus for people to go and set up their home offices. Right? And ultimately, the third thing that the organization did was enhance talent, fungibility and mobility, where this lean we looked at as a support for people to explore trainings as well as move from one area to the other, and actually leadership.
I'm not too sure.
Right. So these were differences in the motivation of the organization.
Yeah, Vinita, I think there's some challenge. We're losing you in between, but no problem. We'll come back to you. Possibly some network from your side. So, Dr. Boone, a question to you.
All right.
I mean, since we spoke about productivity, we spoke about engagement, we spoke about motivation. Now, all these things lead to one thing which we can't, miss out, is the work-life balance. And all the organizations had been talking about work-life balance so far till now, before COVID time. Do you think, is there any change in work-life balance post-COVID? And if that's so, what are we doing about it?
Prashant, if you give me 1 minute on engagement, I think I'll probably bring in something slightly different. Although Nitin and this is Savita have covered this point. There are some points. Firstly, we have enhanced the cover by 5 times from which earlier it used to be. Secondly, we tied up with Apollo Hospital, Apollo Home Care. Anyone, parent, mother, sister, anyone falls sick, even if it's not a COVID case, he is put on home care immediately, and all expenses are paid for the company. There is an unlimited leave in case you are sick, or your wife is sick, or your child is sick. Unlimited means if we just need to verify. We don't spend much time in that, because there is a very elaborate system of emergency response teams which has been set up in the complete company. I come to know within 1 hour somebody is sick in the company. This is the kind of engagement we have. Secondly, this is one part. Secondly, I used to travel quite a lot. The MD, the other people also used to travel quite a lot. We don't travel, but I engage people much more than I used to engage, of course, virtually. I now know many more people in my company than I used to know earlier, because it's virtually possible. This is a new window has been opened. So these are the positives of this environment. We are holding 2 virtual meetings, and all my sales guys come one day. We have a Q&A with them. So the engagement level, we found out new ways of engagement. This is what my closing line is.
Okay.
And very innovative one, and it is possible to have this kind of thing. And I think people are enjoying it. I'll give you a very small example. Yesterday only, I saw one guy, he was not doing well in sales earlier. His name is Vaishak. He's from Trivandrum. So I remembered his name Vaishak, because Vaishak is a month in our Hindu calendar. Vaishak is a month. So I told him, Vaishak, your name is very good, but your sales are not good. Yesterday when he came, I found huge uptick in that. So before he could say, Vaishak, yeah, celebration. You drink beer? Yes, sir. Okay, 2 bottles from my side. So, you find new ways of motivating, and you can now reach out many more people than we used to reach earlier. So I'll close this answer to engagement here. Actually, we are doing much more in engagement because our model is very different. Our people are very distributed. They need some sort of contact point and hand holding. Okay, now coming to this work-life balance. This is the most difficult question, Prashant, which I have faced for a long time. Army, Ashok Leyland, ACC, this company. This is very complex. I probably, since the time is very limited, I'll only give you an example, because this varies from person to person, company to company. There is no single definition of work-life balance. This is my first answer to it. Cement is a very standard continuous production industry. Ready mix is not. Ready mix plants work only when there is an order, because you can't make ready mix concrete. So I was having a discussion long time back with the HR head of Brazil, who had long been working this industry when I was in ACC. I asked him, do you shift people from cement to ready mix or ready mix to cement? He says, I have tried, it doesn't work. I asked him why. It is related with work-life balance. So he said, if I shift a cement guy to ready mix, he will go mad, because phone is ringing, everything, he will not be able to work. So he probably is not able to work. He enjoys life there. I said, fine, it's okay. It means the ready mix guy will be very happy to go to cement. He said, no, Dr. Boone, even that is wrong. He gets bored. So we are very different. My people, they tell me, when I tell them, why are you getting 70 calls? Reduce it to 30. Sir, if calls are reduced to 30, my wife will think that I'm going to lose my job, because I used to get so many calls at home. Now the calls are not coming. You see, these are the kind of, I interact with a lot of people, and this is the answer they give. So this industry, unfortunately, also needs a lot of this off and all call. You can be off for some time, 2-3 hours, no work at all. Then suddenly 2-3 hours you are working. So work-life balance per se, in the people who are in the head office, they are feeling very happy because 3 days they don't have to come. So their work-life balance definitely is much higher. As for the guy in the street is concerned, my plant is concerned, work-life balance continues to be the same it used to be earlier. Neither it has deteriorated nor it has improved.
Okay. Let's, I think, very valid point. Savita, question to you. I mean, like what he said, management, senior management, possibly for them, since they go only for 3 days, work-life balance has improved. But certain set of people may not. How about, work-life balance in your industry, in your sector?
So thanks, Prashant. Again, it's a very interesting question where people do have the 2 views of it, right? Yes, work-life balance. I have flexibility. Employees have they have accommodated, and replicated that work environment at their home. But as such, it is not the whole employees connect which is there, right? but the employees are going through stress. They do go through a lot of work pressure, right? That is very impacting them, as there is no direct social interaction, or there's a lack of social interaction which is happening. So being accommodative of their personal lives and the needs of the employee and adjusting the performance expectations accordingly will help us all, post our COVID new normal environment when we are back to office. And the most important is trust your employees, right? And this is the time, if you trust them, you empower them, you give them the time. Mostly it could be because you have a small child, you have a kid, you have old parents, you have to look after them in the morning, you have to give them medicine, take them to hospital. The managers need to understand that they need to trust them and say that, all right, I am flexible, do your job, make sure that it happens by end of the day. So I, as an employee, have that ownership that I can log in anytime and ensure that outcome is delivered. That's very important.
Got it. Right. Well said. In fact, let's hear from Nitin. Nitin, what is work-life balance as per you, and do you think it's actually working well now, or it's just an thing?
Work-life balance, as Dr. Boone said, there is no proper definition of it. It varies from industry to industry. It varies from the segment of the manpower, the role what you are playing in the organization and all. If you see the 2 months or the 3 months, all of us was at home, it was all the time with the family. But does that give a good work-life balance? No. The quality time and the situation both together makes a difference in the work-life balance, right? So that's varies. That differs from place to place, location to location, segment of manpower, the role what you are playing in the organization, the time what you dedicate to your organization and to your work. So it's different. In our case, obviously, as Dr. Boone said, and what Savita said, the senior managerial people sitting in our head office, they feel comfortable. They feel that they are working 4 days in a week or working 3 days in a week from the office, and the remaining time while logging from the home and working. Giving a more quality time in this difficult situation with the family is, according to me, a good work-life balance in this situation. Because entire family, the extended family, not the nuclear family, I'm saying, the extended family members are way or the other, someone or the other is coming with difficult time. You have to be with them, either on the extended support, either knowing them, understanding them, helping them out, supporting with their needs. So that is required. So this gives a lot of good time for the senior managerial people into the work-life balance or the work-family balance. So that is good in this situation. On the other hand side, we thought very seriously about the blue-collar people. Again and again, I'm saying, because we are focusing on them today. We try to understand them, the entire different scenario, what they are expecting, where they are not mentally that mature and experienced to face this new era, the new difficult situation. So we focus on them. See what I said just now, we gave them the resident program, we gave them the flexi hours, we also gave them the extended medical help to them and to their family. So that also a work-life balance or work and family balance for the blue-collar people. Extending these to the blue-collar people or the middle management people gave them a lot of bonding with the organization, and which we found really fruitful and the biggest effective tool for enhancing of the productivity what we are experiencing in this time.
Right. Thanks, Nitin. So we are left with 5-6 minutes now. We have one more question to go. I will ask Vinita, to chip in here. Maybe she can also throw some light on work-life balance, what she has seen in the organization. But addition to that, Vinita, I would also like to understand from you, since we have spoken about people, we have spoken about environment, culture, what are the top 3 HR functional competencies that have emerged as an essential to succeed during the new normal? It's something where I would like to understand from you as well. Yes, Vinita.
Sure, Prashant. Cover the other side. So a lot of organizations did go through a hiring freeze to be able to really cater to any fluctuation in the performance in Q4. That resulted into an enhanced disbalance when it came to work life, right?
Mhm.
And therefore, that is something which is very true to the IT organization and the industry. And certainly, the companies have gone ahead and given flexibility in terms of, launching policies which are flexible work. Organizations like mine actually gave out a 2 week, like childcare has actually resulted into a given amount of burnout for employees. Right now, I'm quickly going to move on to the question that you asked in terms of the competencies. And if you say, that you need to give 3, I'd say that the key people responsibilities from an HR perspective are people health, workforce readiness, and communication and supporting the culture. Right. And I'm very quickly just going to call out the headers that I feel are important. As far as people health is concerned, it's actually accelerating smart work and enabling remote working to be possible. And it's also ensuring that there is adequate hygiene and health in the people's personal work environment, which will mitigate people risk. Now, as far as workforce readiness is concerned, it technically means that the organization is empathetic, is communicating openly, and is actually managing remote workforce in a flexible manner. And just wrapping it up with, leadership perspective, there's a heightened responsibility of the leaders to actually stand together with employees and to speed up the overall digital readiness of the organization. And HR is actually not only a change catalyst, but is also leading the business to go to the next step.
Okay, right. Vinita, I think there was certain lag, but we could hear most of your conversation, what you spoke about, and it was very, very relevant. Moving to Nitin. Nitin, quickly, 3 top things which comes in your mind in terms of competencies that have emerged during this period.
See, the most important thing is that the HR role has been enhanced tremendously in this situation, especially segmenting of the manpower and catering their needs accordingly. So that's going to be previously that segmentation was very typical according to the grade wise we was thinking, and according to the location wise and the designation wise we was bifurcating the manpower. But now no, now the entire situation has been changed. The common factors are changed, the uncommon factors are changed. So that parameter diagram making or diagramming the parameters is also become the most important thing, number one. And then according to making the solutions for their needs temporarily, short term and long term is also going to be the biggest task for the HR now. Being empathetic is definitely extended a lot into this situation, because every single employee working, irrespective of their designation, grade and position, is looking to the organization as one of the support. And here, if we stand, it's going to be the great win-win situation for both of us. And the relationship will enhance. So that's overall enhancement of this role of HR is going to be the really dynamic, or rather it's going to be the much more opportunity for us to prove our human talent and human relationship enhancement qualities.
Got it. Good point, Nitin. Fine. Savita, what would you like to add here?
I think most of them have added, Vinit and Vinita have added the details on this. My only point is looking at your ongoing and open communication has to be the basic. If you do our basic stuff of communicating with employees throughout, whether you're talking on the project, whether you're having one-on-one, whether you're giving a forward feedbacks, that has to be very, very important as a competency, which I would say. The second part I would look at is trust. You would need very, very important. I would say that you trust them and help them and going with the future, how it's going to be. But looking at the HR priorities, I would say build critical skills and competencies for organizations and strengthen our current and the future leaders. It is very, very important. That's how we would go to the next step as an HR or as an organization.
Got it. Right, Savita. So before we get into question answer session, last statement or possibly explanation or details from Dr. Boone. Dr. Boone, please, what is your thought on these competencies?
So I think this largely has been covered. I think there is a almost unanimity on two competency, that is trust and empathy.
Absolutely.
I had written down much earlier, and I think Savita as well as Nitin, even they all are mentioning these. I think this is absolutely true. The only one which different I'll mention is developing leader through online training. We do a lot now. Earlier it was mostly this thing. So this is another competency which has been developed in people, how to learn online and how to deliver learning online.
Right. Yeah, quite relevant. Yes. So fine. Anybody wants to add any point we missed out on the last question, or else we can move to, we have a couple of questions. I could see some people writing questions. So we can get into the question answer session now. There are 4 or 5 already which are there. So anybody would like to take last 30 seconds to wind up this question, or we can get into Q&A. I leave it to you.
Prashant, I would just like to add one thing here.
Please,
okay?
please,
And
more
I've
than
been
happy.
wanting to say it.
Yeah.
So we need to ensure that leadership recognizes that employee experience is just not HR responsibility, right? It is their managers also ownership, which is very, very important. I somewhere feel that earlier it was human resource we used to call, but it is now more on human resource experience, right? It is as a team, we work together with leaders, with employees, and with all the stakeholders. So I think it is everyone's responsibility that the employee experience is better.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Completely agree with you. Fair enough. So with that, we've come to an end of our at least panel discussions. We have a couple of questions which are there. So I would like to, start possibly, Savita, you can start with this answer. I'll put a question to you. This is from Snehalata Deshmukh. She says that work from home has become new working norm. How leaves are executed? Leaves are not utilized. Has any of the organizations changed their policy in terms of leaves? What's your thought on that?
So good question, Sneha. I think looking at most employees have not utilized their leave throughout the year, right? Your leave balance are there. So many organizations are taking stands in terms of whether to carry forward, because there used to be a cut or you will have a cap saying you can carry forward X number. But many organizations implemented saying that it is mandatory for employees to take these leaves in a quarter, right? Or you could encash those leaves in the near future. So that's the way the organizations are looking at the different options or different variants.
Okay. Any other thought from anybody? Nitin, Dr. Boone, what is your
okay.
industry?
Okay. So in our case, we used to have 42 days all-purpose leave, and we used to allow 15 days carry forward. We have reduced the leave to 24 days now, because a lot of people have probably that if it's a company policy we have taken, because they will not be able to use also. And secondly, I think we lost a lot of man hours earlier, and people are happy with that. They can still carry forward 15 days.
Okay, they can still come. Fine.
Yeah. In our setup, what we did, we made a different calculation method for work from home leave. That is on a certain percentage, the days you log in and days you work into the field. So there is going to be some ratio we have defined, and accordingly we are doing. For the manufacturing setup, it's typically as it is. But trust me, my organization taken a very thoughtful decisions that everyone is going to get an opportunity to carry forward the leave whatsoever is balanced with them. And please understand, according to my observations and various talks we had with the different segment of the manpower, this is one of the biggest motivating point for the employees. They feel that yes, organization is stand along with me. My leaves are there. I work hard for the organization in this time. I dedicated my time extensively and extendedly. So in lieu of that, the organization is supporting me for extending and carry forwarding of my leaves. So that's, for me, that's one of the motivating tool what we are utilizing. So that's from my side.
Right. Thanks, Nitin. Vinita, the final answer from your final.
Prashant, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Your screen is freezed. So
Can you hear me?
but we can hear you very well.
Okay, but you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go on for the answer. So pretty much as far as my organization is concerned, any carry forward of leave will require a financial provision. And during the stressful times of COVID, where there is already, business.
I think we are losing Vinita.
Yeah.
There's some network issues. Anyway, I think we'll wait for maybe 5 seconds and see in case if she comes back, or else we are nearly at the end of our panel discussions. Whatever questions were there, we have asked. What we'll do, since we have our internal team, we will collate questions which are coming from all of them, and we'll share it with all of you. And
Sure.
we will go back to them in terms of whatever queries they have. I must say that this was very highly interactive session, which I have seen in last couple of webinars, which I have done. Quite interesting insights from all of you. This was a little different because we were touching upon various softer skills on the people front, on the environment, on how things had been pre-COVID and post-COVID, instead of sticking to our basic, which is more to do with compliance or regulatory environment. So this, I'm sure, would benefit most of the people who had been part of this call or as an audience. So with that, I would like to, end the session and say thank you to all of you, all the panelists, for giving us time, joining us, and giving an insight about, the various aspects of the corporate culture and compliance. So thank you once again. I would love to stay in touch with you. We will connect separately. Thanks for joining, and great. And thank you to the audience as well. So once again, thank you everyone for joining this panel discussion. Looking forward to connect with you in future again. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you for giving opportunity. Thank you. Pleasure indeed.
Same here. Nice meeting you, Savita. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure.